or otherwise you have in the this scenarios in the Heroku app website also. Otherwise you can find here. So frames scenarios. Here I have written. So visit the page Internet Heroku app. This is the for internal frames, and switch to the frame that contains the TestNG editor. Find and store the text in the editor. Clear the text in the editor. Input some text in the editor. Find and store the new text in the editor. Asset that original and new text entries do not match. So that means you need to use asset not equals here. Switch to the top level of the page. Grab the text from the top of the page and asset it's what we expect. Then close the browser. So this is the one you can try, and so I'll show you this one because this is coming differently. That's why I want to show you this. Open jQueryui.com. So you can see open the jQueryui.com. jQueryui.com you just open. So then you have a widget section. We have autocomplete link. Autocomplete link. Then you go here. So you have to type here. But if you want to type here, this tags edit box in the internal frame inside. First you have to switch to this frame. So if you right click and you can find inspect element, iframe you can find just above this element. Iframe, it will show us. See that this is the iframe. This is the iframe. Iframe src class we have. Class demo frame. Class demo frame. So this one you can use, and so then we can continue that. So first switch to this internal frame, then you can type it. Okay, so that's what we need to do. Let's see the same steps I'm going to put into automation. I'll take only, so before all and after all. I don't want much, anything extra. Before each, after each, I don't need. So for this last program also, frames also, I didn't take anything. Only before all, after all, at the test. So now also we'll take before all, after all only we'll take internal frame test. So this is the internal frame code, and just change the URL. So the URL you change jQueryui.com, just this one. So you can validate the page title also. So what is the page title? So go back. So jQueryui will be the page title. Go to header tag and the title tag jQueryui. So this title you can get it, and wait dot until expected conditions. Maybe page title if you want, validate. We don't have any headers, right? And I can remove all these things, and this also I can remove all these things. So if you want to verify the page title, just you can verify the page title. This we verified the page title, right? Page title we verified. This we don't need. Same title you can give here for assertion also. So both are same or not, you can check that with this. And then remaining thing is, so you can click syntax, all this you can find in the test method. So you can write in the test method all these things. Okay, so you can write here everything. So click on this link. What is that link? Autocomplete link. Autocomplete link, you click it. Autocomplete link. So then it will go to next page. So then wait for that URL or page title, whatever it is. So click on this, and then you can wait for this URL also. So URL also you can validate. So if not title, URL also you can validate. Any one you validate. So then we need to switch to the frames. So before switching to the frames, first you have to identify that iframe element. So I need to identify the iframe element. So I'll identify. So web element iframe element equal to driver dot find element. So by dot class, I think class is there. Yes, class name and the class value. So you give that class value. So what is that class value? Let's see here. So we reached this page. Spy on this element and you just go up. You can see, yes, this is the one demo frame. So just you can give that class value. Based on the class, I'm identifying iframe element, then switch to iframe element. So you just need to pass that web element, not a string. So this web element name you need to pass to the driver dot switch to dot frame method. So frame is overloaded, right? That you can pass different parameters. That is, I'm passing web element, so I'm passing here. Now it is switched. Then you can type the value in edit box, tags edit box. You can just type it. So driver dot find, this is also ID will be there here. Just check that this element. If you want, you can take from tag selector sub or relative path. You have a tags edit box ID value. So ID value, I'm taking ID locator, and that ID value I'm passing get text. So then that's it. You can switch back to previous page. How can you navigate back? Because you moved from one page to other page. So to navigate back to previous page. So generally we'll use driver dot switch to method dot default content if it is in the same page. But we are using page is navigated and changed. Then you have to use so driver dot to navigate method dot back method you have to navigate method dot back method you have to use. So then and so how do you know you went to back page, right? You have to validate something. So I'll type something. The type right, not send keys, not get text. Send keys method you have to use. Send keys method. Then I'll type the value. So web driver, I'm typing some keys. So you type it. And I went back. So then if you go back, so you can validate this page title also. Same thing you can do. The page title validation, you can do that. Try so creating a method with these two lines of code so that it will reduce the duplicate code, right? One simple method you can create in the anywhere. So maybe title is your parameter. So take the title, verify the title method you can put, and the title is your parameter, and you can pass the title for that method wherever you are calling. Then you don't need to write these two methods, these two lines of code. See that here two lines you can avoid it. So let me show you how to write that simple method like that. So you can write the static methods, right? I'll write static method verify page title. So method you can keep like this. So string title, that's the method you have to, and then keep these two lines of code there. So here it will change. Here is the title. Just give parameter name. Here also give parameter name. Just parameter name. That's it. So what you can do, you call the method, you can validate. So how easy you see that? One liner. You can avoid. That's the thing we are going to do. So jQuery, right? You can just give method name. And this is how to write if you duplicate code if you are writing. So duplicate code if you are writing. So this is how you create a method and call that line of codes. This is the one. Even other places also it will help you. Same method. And this is the reusable methods how to create. Okay, that's why I'm asking. Method creation is very important. Now I'll click on something on this page, accordion something. Otherwise, whether I reached this page or not, I don't know, right? That's why you click on something. Accordion link, I'll click it. So that I'll come to know, okay, I reach it to this page. Click on accordion link. That's it. Basically, our main focus is whether you are switching to the iframe or that is what we need to see. If you are not switching, it won't type here. Type is not going to happen. So driver dot find element. So by dot link text. So you give that link name accordion dot click. And next you can validate. I'll just call this method. I'll validate the page type. Simple. So one liner method you can call. Just method name. So static method you can call in both static and non-static methods. Just give that page title. See that page title will change. Accordion jQuery UI. That I am going to give. So this one. String this one. I just give here that one. Over. That's all. Okay. So basically our focus is iframe. How to handle iframes. And let's run this test case. Run as Junit test. Run as Junit test. You have to do that. It will start running your test. Sometime. Okay, got it. So if when the action is not happening, just check in the web page. Okay, this above element above, any frame or iframe is there or not. That's the only reason. If it is not working, means something it might be in the frame, but we haven't handled that. That is the reason it is not doing action on that element. Once you handle that, then it will start working. Okay, so that's it. So all the frames. Now last one, we need to see how to handle pop-ups, web pop-ups. Alert dialog boxes are different, web pop-ups are different. How to handle pop-ups? Let's see how to handle these pop-ups. So how to handle web pop-ups or tabs or new windows, how we will move, that I'll show you. Okay, so when you click on something, you will get a new window or a new pop-up, or you can open in the new tab. Then how can you move? That we'll see. This click on something to get the another window or pop-up. First, once your window or a pop-up or a tab is opened, then what you need to do is you have to get all the window IDs. How can you fetch all the window IDs?
Driver.get handles. We can call get handles method.
Get window handles method you need to call. Okay, so that's I have written here. Set string handles equal to driver.get window handles. So I am fetching. Already you have a parent window and you opened one more window. Another window also I'm fetching those window IDs also. All window IDs I'm fetching, storing in this handles collection. Now this is a collection. So this set string collection, right? And in this I have a parent ID and child window ID. Now I can iterate using iterator interface so that it will iterate in forward direction, right? And we can get each window ID. So first iterate. So iterator interface it equal to handles dot iterator. Now I am fetching my parent window ID. String PID equal to typecast it to string it dot next method. Next method, what it will do, the IT variable, what value is that will fetch and stores in this PID variable. Same fetch the next element. Next position, what element is that position you fetch, because this will iterate to next. And this next method will move the cursor automatically to next place and fetches the next child window. So now you know the parent window, you know the child window. Now you can go to which window you want to go, you can switch to that window. So then call switch to the child window. Driver dot switch to method dot window of the window ID view. So I want to go to child window. So I can move to child window and I can perform the actions on that child window. Then close the child window and driver dot close. So driver dot close will close the current window, right? Now we are in the child window will be closed. Now you need to switch back to parent window. How can you switch back the cursor to parent window from child? You have to write again driver dot switch to method dot window of, you know the parent window ID. That parent window ID you pass it to window method. Automatically it will come back to parent window. Then you can do action on that parent window. So this is the procedure you need to follow. Otherwise, I have multiple windows, right? I have multiple windows. So based on multiple windows also I can switch. So first if you want to handle multiple windows. So this is another interview question. How can you handle multiple windows? So using iterator while loop, you can do that. String PID equal to driver dot get window handle. So you get the parent window. Then fetch all the window IDs. Set the string handles equal to driver dot get window handle. So iterator it equal to handles dot iterator method. Handles dot iterator method. So while it dot has next, so all the values I'm iterating. If parent ID is not equals to it dot next. So parent ID, that's why we got first. If any other IDs is not equal to parent ID, then you switch to that ID. So except parent ID, I want to switch to each child window ID. Then I want to close that child windows. So then switch to that child window. Driver dot switch to method dot window method of it dot next. It dot next means next element, next element, next element. So this will come inside this if condition only if this it dot next is not equal to parent ID. If it is equal to parent ID, it won't come inside. If it is not equal to parent ID, it will come inside. Then so you can close that child window. This is how to handle multiple windows. No, I want to switch based on the title. Based on the title, I want to switch. How can you switch? Based on the title. So this is the code. You can write this code as it is. You can create a method also for these things. Switch to window or switch to pop-up. Something you can write a method. This code as it is, you can paste there. First, fetch the parent window ID. Driver dot get window handle. That will give you the parent window ID. So now click on something to get another window or pop-up. Okay, you click something. After that, you have a parent and child window. All the window IDs you fetch into collection. Set a string handles equal to driver dot get window handles. So now you got the collection. So the collection of elements you have. Now you iterate using for each loop. For the collection data type is a string and h colon handles. And if driver dot switch to method dot window of h. So this h represents the each element of this collection, right? So dot get title equals to your window title. Which window you want to go, that window title you pass it here. If it is equal to that window title, this h value title is equal to this window title, then you switch to that h. So driver dot switch to method dot window of h. So then perform the actions on the child window. Then you can close the child window. Driver dot close you call because you switch it to child window here. So then you close that child window. Then you bring back to the original position. Previous parent window you can bring back by calling this driver dot switch to method dot window of. You need to pass the each window, which window you want to go, you need to tell clearly. Then only cursor will go to that window. Now PID, parent window ID, it will go. Then you can do actions on the parent window. So this is the how we can do the parent window and child window action, right? Any questions here? Now we'll write the programs so that you can get some idea. And here is the pop-ups. You can see automatic pop-ups you are going to get here. When you open naukri.com, so dynamic pop-ups you will get. You don't need to click also. Here, 3 small windows are open. This is the one pop-up. This is another pop-up. This is another pop-up. So this is not alerts. You can find the element in these all these elements in the web page. These are all having HTML code, but alerts doesn't have HTML code. That's the difference between Windows dialog boxes and web dialog boxes. So web dialog boxes you have a HTML code. You can find each element in the with the HTML tags and attributes. But Windows dialog boxes like alert dialog box, those things you cannot find out in the HTML. They don't have any HTML code. So I want to switch to each child window and I need to close that. Then I need to come back to my parent window I can do action on the parent. So this is the how you can switch to each child window. First you have to fetch all these child window IDs, this child window ID and parent window ID. Then if any these window IDs is not equal to parent window, switch to these child windows one by one, and you can close those things and come back to parent window, do the actions on the parent window. So that is what we need to do. So write the code for this. So let's write the code. So I'll take up this and Nockery pop-up I'm doing. So the last program in the Junit, Nockery pop-up, multiple window handling. This Nockery pop-up, Nockery multiple windows handling. This example is for handling multiple windows, multiple pop-up test. How can we handle multiple pop-up handling, test? Okay, so Nockery multiple handling pop-ups test. So I need to open Nockery.com. Just open the Nockery.com. So take this URL, and you can go here and you can call the page title. Title contains is there, or which one we use? Okay, so title contains only if you need to use title contains, and this is the asset equals or asset true also we can use. With asset true we can use, because see, otherwise you have to give complete title, then it will fail if you are not giving a complete title here. So complete title you are not giving, it will fail. So let's see complete title we'll try to give. What will happen? This is a very big title. I want to shortcut that. If you want to shortcut, asset equals doesn't work out. Asset true we need to use. Asset true, what it will is, you can give a short also. See, very big title. So this much you need to pass. Anyhow, just a page you are calling the method, that's fine. So after all, I am not touching because the driver.close I am calling, and then at the test multiple windows, multiple pop-ups. So multiple pop-ups. Now, so what we need to do? So all these things you remove. First, what we need to do here is I need to switch to the. You need to fetch all the this code you have to call as it is. So multiple window handling. So this is the multiple window handling. You can fetch this code using iterator or so that you can do this. The for each loop also you can use. So whatever you want you can use for each loop or whatever it is. First, what you need to do, get the parent window ID and all the window IDs you get it. So I'll fetch the all parent and get window handle. So change to get window handle, right? Maybe typo here. Now you got all the windows. Now what we can do? So iterate using for each loop. So what is the for each loop? So data type of that collection string h colon handles the collection name. Then you can do the iteration. If condition you need to tell, if parent ID is not equals to child window ID. So child window is represented by h. If it is not equal to that, so this h value is not equal to this parent window, then switch to that child window. So how to switch? Driver dot switch to method dot. So window of the window ID. The window ID is h, not PID. H. You switch it, then you close that. Close the child window. So driver dot close. Method you have to call. Then you can switch back to your parent window. Switch back to parent window. All this you can create a methods. So no need to write all these things every time. If you are calling these multiple places, you can create a methods and then you call those methods. So that I will show you in the framework. Okay, switch back to parent window. So how can I switch back to parent window? Driver dot switch to method dot. So window of the parent. Then how do you know you came back to parent window? You type something on the parent window. You do action on the parent window. So what I'm going to do, I'll do type action here. Okay, so I'll do type action and these skills. So these things I'll just type automation here, but first you need to find out. So find out that. Okay, I'll take a selectors hub or a true path, whatever it is, and based on that we'll select that. There might be some IDs and it will be there. You don't need to worry about that. So that you have a class ID is there. You can take this CSS selector. I'm taking CSS selector. Type the value in skills edit box. So driver dot, so find element, so by dot CSS selector. I'm taking CSS selector value dot send keys. So I'm giving automation testing. So just you type whatever the keyword you want. Then also I want to type the location. So you can type the location. So the location is, so you can take anything. So see location, the CSS selector also there, or XPath will take this time. Okay, let's take XPath. Type the location. So driver dot find element. So by dot XPath. So XPath value. Give the XPath value. So dot send keys. So I'm just giving so Bangalore or India, whatever you want, you can give. Then click on this search button, right? You click on this search button. So you have this search button. I'll just copy CSS selector. Click on search button. So driver dot find element. So by dot CSS selector. So give the value. So this is the value I have given. Dot click. That's it. So whether if you are not switching to parent window, these actions will not going to be performed. It will say I couldn't find this element on the child window. So that will report an error for it. I'll show you that whether you are getting a report or not. So let's run this program. Then we'll start a TestNG framework. So that 3 child windows are open. I think this failed what? Yeah, it is doing. So it's running the test cases. Failure happened. Let's see what is the failure. Timeout exception. Expected condition, timeout. So the page title, basically the page title mismatch. See, current title, previous title is title is dynamically changing. So that what we can do, this one, I'm going to change this to set to true, so that only partial thing you can give. Instead of this, private dot get page source contains. So this title or not. That's you can do that. So that not necessary all this, right? So it's gone. Private dot get page source. In that contains this get title method or not. We are just
one more bracket.
Brackets are important. That's it. So let's run this Junit test. Here also I think it will fail, right? I don't want to give complete, so only naukri.com I'll give. I'll stop this again. It will fail because this is dynamically changing the page title. So that's the reason it is keep failing. Yeah, again also it will fail. I'll just give only naukri.com. Remaining thing all I'll remove that. Definitely it will fail. So let's give this naukri.com. Then we'll run unnecessarily waste of time. Let's run it back again. This time it will go file. See that 3 pop-ups are open. What happened? It failed. Assertion failed. So all these methods we need to change different ways. So whether it is there or not. Our driver dot get title dot contains this title, whatever the string title you are giving. Partial title you can give, right? That is there or not, you can check. So you close 3 and automation testing done, right? So that's the test case. So we have finished. Now if I don't switch to the parent window, suppose I handled all the child windows, but I haven't switched back to my parent window, then what will happen? It's not going to type there. It will say I couldn't find this element in the current window. It will reply. Started the browser again. All the child windows will be handled here one by one, and then it won't type there. It will throw error for us. So you can see the error here. So no such window exception. Remember all these exceptions. No such window exception. So it is clearly saying, I don't know where is that. So no such window exception it is throwing. So, and line number also you can find where is that line, where is that issue, right? So this is the how to handle pop-ups. So you must switch to parent window if you want to do, because this window already closed, all shell windows are closed, no more. And from there you come back, you have to call back. You can ask, there is no windows, why you are calling back? WebDriver doesn't listen that. So you have to call that back to a parent window, and then you can do action on the parent window. Okay, so that's the kind of issues you will see. This is all about JUnit. So let's quickly move on to TestNG theory part. We'll see what is this TestNG. So this is similar to JUnit, but so that's more advanced than JUnit. JUnit we have only hardly 5 annotations, right? At the rate before alu, at the rate after alu, at the rate before each, at the rate after each, and at the rate test. These are the 5 annotations. You have very less annotation, but and also you don't have a grouping concept. So grouping, if you want to do, you cannot do that. And but here you can do even disabling the test cases also you can do. How can you do disabling test cases? Let me show you that also. So at the rate disabled, for example, I have multiple test methods, right? I want to disable them. So how can I do that? So you just write simple thing at the rate disabled. That's it. So import this Jupyter JUnit. Then this method is not going to execute. See that method is not going to execute. Simple alert is not going to execute. Remaining 2 test cases will execute. So that is the this at the rate disabled. How you can skip the test cases using at the rate disabled, you can skip it. You can see here. See, this is skipped. It isn't. So it is not executed. Test simple alert. These 2 only executed. So that's how you can handle the confirmation and prompt dialogues. So this is the how you can disable the JUnit at the rate test methods. You can skip. So you write at the rate disabled annotation on top of that at the rate test method, then you can skip that test case. Temporarily you don't want to run. This is how you can right, skip it. Instead of commenting entire thing, you just write at the rate disabled one keyword, one annotation, it will disable automatically. Temporarily it doesn't run that test case. Okay, so this is the all the features of TestNG JUnit. Let's move on to TestNG. What is mean by TestNG? So TestNG is another next generation testing framework, and which helps us to write your functional test cases from unit testing to UAT test cases. All the different types of test cases you can write with the TestNG. So TestNG provides a lot of annotations. So TestNG provides a lot of annotations. So we'll see that. And so what are the different annotations you have in TestNG? I'll come back to this JUnit and TestNG differences. And then you have, this is the mostly asked question also, TestNG and JUnit differences. I'll come back to that. See, this diagram, if you see, all your test cases on one side, and you can take the data from Excel sheets and supply to your test cases. Then you can run as a TestNG test. You can get a better HTML reports and logs also you will get. That's the advantage with the TestNG framework. So till the JUnit, we are not fetching the reports, right, properly. Right? You don't have a HTML reports, something like that. So logs also very less, failure time you are getting. But here in TestNG, you will get all the logs, whatever you are logging. You have to log them. Those logs it will show you in the end of your task. That's the advantage with the TestNG framework. And the advantages of TestNG framework is TestNG provides a rich annotation support. TestNG generates a better HTML and XSLT reports. You can prioritize the test cases using @test priority equal to, you give the numbers. What numbers you want to give, you give it. Positive and negative numbers also you can give. This is the questions on this. So many questions asked in the interview. Can you give negative numbers on the priority? Can you give double values? Double values, floating values, you are not allowed to give here. Only numbers, positive and negative, you can give both. Can you give string? String also, it won't be allowed. Okay. Remember all these 5 questions asked in the interview for me on this. How can you prioritize? First question. Can you give a negative values? Can you give a string values? Can you give a float values? And all these questions asked on this simple keyword. Next, how can you skip the test cases? So you can skip the test cases using @test. Enabled equal to false you need to write. But there in the Junit we have @disabled you have to write, right? And we can set the dependency among test methods. So you have multiple test cases. One test depends on another test. How can you set the dependency? So this is the one, @test. So depends on methods keyword you have to use, like priority keyword and enabled keyword. Use depends on methods keyword and write that method. So now the current test depends on test 1. What is the meaning of this? That means test 1 first executes. If that passes, then this test case will execute. Otherwise, this test case are not going to execute. If test 1 fails, this test will skip automatically. It won't execute. So that it is easy for debugging also. Okay, main test case failed. That's why this depends on test case is not executed. You can understand like that. So that's a depends on methods. You can do that. We can group the test cases. We can group the test cases. @test groups equal to smoke, sanity, and regression. Smoke, sanity, and regression test cases. So grouping you can do in TestNG. So we can run the test cases parallelly on multiple browsers. Same test case you can run on multiple browsers. And we can do data-driven testing using @data provider annotation. So we can supply parameter values from XML file using @parameters annotation. So these are all the annotations of TestNG. And let's install that TestNG in the Eclipse. So can you all open your Eclipses? If you already opened, let me know. Otherwise, I'll move to other topic. So already opened or still you need to open. Otherwise, I'll explain Junit versus TestNG differences. This is another interview question, widely asked question. So what is the difference between Junit and TestNG? So Junit originally developed by Kent Beck and Eric Gamma in 2013. And so TestNG is created by Cedric Best. Cedric Best is the father of TestNG. So that's who created the TestNG and Junit. And groups. We can group the test cases in Junit and TestNG. Yes, both we can do. Both places we can group the test cases. Testing offers additional annotations to those available in Junit. Probably the most notable is that to run code before and after groups of the test case, right? So here with the TestNG, you can group the test case. @test groups equal to sanity or flow, functional or whatever it is. You can do grouping. Okay, this test belongs to this group, so that you can run only particular group test cases, only smoke test cases, only regression test cases. You can run if you do a grouping. If you're not doing grouping, you cannot do that. And how can you do in TestNG? So using @tag, you can do that grouping. So same grouping concept is available in Junit and TestNG. This is the Junit format. This is the TestNG format. So how you are doing grouping in TestNG using groups keyword. How you are doing grouping in Junit? @tag keyword you have to use. So then you can tag the test case. Now, parallelism. So how can you do a test cases parallelly? So if you would like to run the same test in parallel on multiple threads, testing has you covered with a simple to use annotation, while Junit doesn't offer a simple way to do so out of the box. So you have to do like this: at the test thread pool size you give 3, invocation count you give 9. So 9 times this test case will execute. And also parallel, you have to use the test cases you want to run parallel, classes you want to run parallel, or test tags you want to run parallel. You can mention parallel attribute will be there, that you can use. So that concept in the Junit you don't have parallelism. Parallel execution you don't have in Junit, but you have in the TestNG. So even in TestNG.xml also you can configure parameterization and data driven test. So in Junit you don't have this concept, but in the TestNG you can parameterize your test cases. You can do a data driven testing using data provider annotation. So that will help you to do a data driven testing. What is data driven testing? So multiple sets of data you can supply to your test methods. Scenario is same, but data is different every time. Like creating users, you give different sets of data. It will create you have to write all the create scenario one time, and you supply the data different sets of data. It will create the course. You don't need to go and do manually. That's a tedious task, right? So instead of that, you put a data in the Excel sheet and it will create out. So that data you need to supply to this test method. So that is achieved by this data provider annotation. And dependencies between groups and methods. So you don't have no setting the dependency among test methods and groups in Junit, but you have an option in TestNG. So we can set this dependency among test methods using depends on method. In TestNG you have, but you don't have in Junit. So Junit doesn't support this. Reporting concept. Reporting is very nice in TestNG. Reporting is bad in Junit. So these are the 5 things you cover, and that's more than enough. Okay, and also you can tell very clearly. You can not prioritize the test cases also in Junit, but you can prioritize test cases in TestNG nicely. And then how it will execute is based on the alphabetical order of your test method. Method name alphabetical order it will take up. Sometimes unpredictable also. So there is no order for in Junit for test cases, but here you can set the order, which order you want to run in TestNG. That ordering is there, grouping is there in the Junit and TestNG, but different ways how to do, you tell that. Parallelism is not there in Junit, you have in the TestNG. So data driven testing you cannot do there, but you can do through Excel sheet. But here you have direct annotation at the data provider annotation. So these are all the depends on method you cannot set there. Here you can set it. So these clear differences you provide. So that's a mostly asked interview question, this difference between Junit and TestNG, right? So are you all set Eclipse at least now? You all opened your Eclipses or no? Okay,
It's
no
open.
problem. Yeah, thank you, Venkat. I don't know, others doesn't want to. Okay, so can you please click on help menu and then install to new software. You can click on this, install new software. So there is a help menu in the Eclipse. Click on help menu, install new software. Click on install new software. So then copy this entire thing, this URL. Okay, copy that and then work with. So you can give the version. So I have given 7.0.0. I have that. So that's why I'm getting directly. I install that. Maybe you can install latest versions also. If you want latest versions, just don't give anything. You just click on that. Then you will see here. You'll get like this. So once you enter this, click on add button. Then you will get this option in the box, TestNG option. First you will get a pending. Then you will get after some time TestNG option. Then check this checkbox and you can click on next and finish it. Then your installation will be over. That's very simple. It will ask you for restarting your Eclipse. So That's how we need to do installation of a TestNG. 7.00 or 7.1.0, 7.3.0 is there. Anything you can so use whichever you want. Then, are anybody facing problem?
Ramesh, once the URL is added, in the name we need to give that version number.
Yes, version
Add
number there.
Okay.
Yeah, you can add a 7.3.0 or 7. Where you can get these versions is you can just go to Maven repository, MVN repository, and you can just MVN repository.com you type, and you can find out your versions. Are also testng.org documentation is there. There also you will get, but here it will show properly. Just type testng and search it, and you can go to that testng org.testng, first one only, okay, and then you will get different versions. See that now 7.4.0 is going on. So whichever you want, you can install 7.4.0, 7.3.0, 7.1.0, but I installed 7.0.0. So whichever is fine. So it's up to you. I'm not denying, but sometimes based on your Eclipse, it has to support that also. So just give latest or just before the latest versions. You can 1 point above, anything is fine. So just click on that and install, and it will ask you in between that after finish, it will ask you, do you want to continue? Run anyway. You just one security pop-up will come. Just click on that security pop-up, run anyway or install anyway, and it will install. And once it is done, it will ask you restart the Eclipse. After restarting the Eclipse, how do you know your TestNG installed perfectly? Just right click on any package and you can see here TestNG. That's an indication for you whether you have a TestNG or not in your Eclipse. If it is successfully installed, you will see option here. That's an indication for us whether TestNG is installed or not. So how many of you completed? Anybody facing problem?
I'm done, Ramesh.
Good. What about others? Anybody facing problem or are not understood? What is that? So if you need to respond, right? Otherwise, how do I know whether you installed or not?
Sir, one question. Actually, today my net is very low. Some breaks are coming out. So, can you please tell after URL what can I do?
You need to pass the version, which version you want to install.
Okay,
Which
I
version
did.
you need to just give there, and then 7.1.0 or 7.3.0. So whatever you want, the version you give, click on add. So automatically you will get that. You give the name here. It's asking me the name, click on add.
Okay.
So it will ask you pending.
Any name I can give, sir.
Any name you can give. TestNG you give any name. Why? Only TestNG you give.
Okay.
The TestNG software you are installing. See, I got a TestNG with the 7.3.0 version. So like that, you can get which version you want. At the end, release slash after you append the versions. 7.0.0 or 7.1.0 or 7.3.0 or 7.4.0. So these are the versions are going on. So always less than the current one use, so that the compatibility will be there with Eclipse also. So then you will get this option. Just check this checkbox. Check this checkbox and click on finish. And it will ask you next. So the next screen you have to select the this license agreement. Select that license agreement. Then it will ask you click next. Next page you need to click finish. So it will install. So without checking this checkbox, the next button is not going to be enabled. See that? Then only next button will be enabled. Otherwise, next button is not going to be enabled.
Where can I check, sir? It is downloaded or not? Where can I check?
So is it asking restart and it will ask you security pop-up, all those things? So is it done?
Sir. Yeah,
then
it's done.
First install, then only can see. Right click on any package.
I did next and finish.
Finish.
Yes.
It will ask you sometime after. Do you want to install anyway? One pop-up will come, security pop-up. So you have to do that.
I don't see, sir.
It will come. It will come. It is installing. At the end, it will ask you restart. It's installing. Just wait some more time, and you will get that. Okay. So once it is done, then what you need to, you can check. Any project you go, just right click, and the panel you can see TestNG option. That's how to check the confirmation. Okay, next move on to, so what are the different annotations we have? So we have a different annotations like before suit, after suit. So before test, after test, and before groups, after groups, before class, after class. So before method, after method, then @test method, then @data provider, @parameterize, @parameters, @parameters annotation. These are the different annotations you can find in TestNG. So what is meant by @before suit? So we have a suit. What is meant by suit? A collection of test cases is called a suit. So before that suit, a collection of test cases running before you want to run your test cases, then you can write @before suit. @before suit tells you the annotated method will be run before all tests in this suit have run. So before running your suit, you want to run some code. That code you can place it inside this before suit annotated method. All the methods here non-static methods, no static methods in this TestNG. But in the Junit, before all, after all are static. Again, before each, after each test methods are non-static methods. But here, every annotated method is non-static. So write that precondition code, what you want to run before your suit. That code you can put it here. And then after suit, so the annotated method will be run after all the tests in this suit have run. Okay, your entire suit is completed. Later you want to run some code, maybe collecting the logs, destroying the environments, such kind of destroyable code or cleaning up code and getting the logs, getting the reports, such kind of activities you can do after suit annotated block. So @after suit, public void after suit, curly braces start, code you write, and curly braces end. Start and end. In between that, the end part, what you want to do after your test cases, what you want to do, that code you can put in the after suit. So then we have a before suit, before test, before test. First before suit, then after suit, then before test. So before test annotation, this is the very important concept. The annotated method will be run before any test method belonging to the classes inside the test tag is run. Test first suit tag will be there, then test tag. Test tag inside you have a classes tag. Classes tag inside class, each class you can represent. That classes test tag execution before this before test code will execute. So let me show you that before test and suit file syntax. If you understand the suit file syntax, then you can understand this testng.org. So this is the official website for TestNG, and you can go to documentation. In this documentation, we have all the annotations also. You can see there's all annotations. And testng.xml file will be there. This is the annotations I was talking. So then you have a testng.xml. The testng.xml is called a suit file. So what is your suit file? If anybody asks you, testng.xml file. Testng.xml is the suit file. So the suit file format is first declaration, XML declaration, then first suit tag, then so name attribute, verbose attribute. So many attributes you can write in the suit tag inside. Parallel, you want to run parallelly or not. Parallel attribute also you can use. Parallel equal to classes, parallel equal to test, parallel equal to so methods, Whatever you want, you can run parallelly by mentioning parallel attribute in the suit tag. So then suit tag after this is the start tag only. End tag is here. This is the end tag, right? Start tag and end tag. Then test tag. Test name, no package, classes tag. Then below that a class tag. Each class you can represent with a class tag. Name equal to that class name you can give. The class name we need to supply package dot class name. Then classes tag will end. So because if no more classes are there, you can end this class tag. Then test tag will end. So this is the one test tag. You can start one more test tag in the suit. So another test, maybe regression test. And a classes tag, test tag below, immediately classes tag will be there. Then class tag, name equal to package dot class name. Another class I want to mention, class tag name equal to package dot second class. So like this, multiple classes you can mention under classes tag. Then close the classes tag, close the test tag, close the test tag. So a test tag, here is a one test tag, this is the one test tag, and this is another test tag, right? So this is what I was talking before test. Each test tag before test code will execute. Before executing this test tag inside classes test methods, first before test code will execute. Then cursor will come to this test tag inside, and then this class inside how many @test methods are there, all @test methods one by one will execute. All classes, how many classes you mentioned under this test tag, all classes one after the other will execute. Before this test tag execution, so that before test annotated block will execute. That's what here clearly given. After that, after test, okay, this test is over, all classes are executed. Now after test block will execute. See that after test annotation definition, the annotated method will be run after all the test methods belonging to the classes inside the test tag have run. So all the test cases inside the test tag classes completed, then cursor will go to after test annotation block. So before test tag classes execution, before test code will execute this code, and then it will enter into the test tag inside classes one by one, class 1, class 2, all classes will execute. Then it will come to after test. After test, before test 2, after test 2, test tag level. Remember, test tag level, not at the test method level. This is test tag level before test annotation. So this test tag execution before, test test annotation block will execute. Once that all classes inside the test tag has completed, then cursor will go to after test annotated block. This is the one, public void after test, all the complete that test tags after. So this and after test will execute. If one more test tag is there, you see here you have one more test tag, right? Again cursor will go to before test. So that means every test tag before test will execute, then it will come inside class 1 will execute, then class 2, class 3, how many classes are there, all the classes will execute. Then after all the classes are over, then controller will go to after test. The cycle will rotate on these three annotations. Before test, all test tag inside classes. Then after all classes are over there, it will go to after test. If one more test tag is there, again controller goes to before test. Then that test tag inside one by one class will execute. Then it will go to after test. So this is the procedure how your annotations will execute. So this is the test tag level, and before suit is the suit level. Suit tag above it will execute. That before suit. A complete suit after suit will execute. But before test to before method is different. Before test is test tag before it will execute. After test is test tag after it will execute. So this is the two differences you need to be very clear. So that's it. I'm stopping here. Next we'll continue and